We're back again. Here we are. Hey, it's the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. Hooray, you lucky people, you. I know, everybody applause. Give me a hand. That's Mickey's hand. My God, he stole Mickey's hand. No, I got the other one. Well, wait, these are the same. These are right and left. I got more. They're around here. These are doorknobs. Doorknobs for Mickey's birthday land. You see that? They attach to the door and you'd open the door. Well, I'm sitting over here next to Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, Randy. I'm sitting on some steps. You know, everything has history here. These steps were steps that went to the second level for the deck of Flipper's Fascination. Yes, when I left, I took my steps. Yes, you got to take steps to move out, right? Even the floor of the showing area here in pieces, this was my mid-floor walkway for Lucky's Fascination when I first came to Wildwood at the Big Top Carnival of Fun multi-level extravaganza at Amusement Arcade Museum. I had built a floating floor so I could have lighting in between. It was very dramatic, very nice. And I used a very good marine grade 3/4 ply. So when I left, I took my floor with me. And then guess what? It came in handy when I wanted to make a show platform in order to create a stage. So this floor is a little bit at an angle because I wanted to create a stadium where you could sit in ride cars and watch the show. Now, people know of the Disney sci-fi, dine-in theater there in the old Disney MGM studios, where they sit in basically ride vehicles. They're like cars with, places to eat, and it's a drive-in theater. I had that idea long before they ever created that at Walt Disney World. It was in one of my books of plans I wanted to do for Randyland. So I did a mini version here, and I used cars from Dark Rides that are lined up where people could sit and watch the show. Well, what kind of show could you have? Well, yeah, you could have a screen with old films from archival footage of what went on during Randy's life on the boardwalk in all the early years. And you could still do that, but I always wanted to have an audio animatronic show. I was always fascinated with the Country Bear Jamboree, one of my favorite shows at Walt Disney World, which they have just recently redone and changed. I'm not real fond of the change because I liked it the way it was. It's a funny thing when you change things that people are used to, you have to compare it with what was, and people's memories and traditions exist. So you don't mess with that. One day I came across an opportunity to buy an animated show. It was from a Pizza Time theater called Major Magics. Never heard of it. It was a chain, smaller chain out in the Midwest, and I believe my show came from Michigan. They decided to pull the show out of their pizza theater. Gosh, this is 20 years ago. More recently, Chucky Cheeses have decided to pull their shows out. And they're destroying the characters. They don't want people to have them for copyright reasons and all that stuff. Well, I don't know what the circumstances were with Major Magic, that they were able to not worry about their copyright infringements, but they sold me the show. So I had it disassembled in Michigan, label everything, and send it to me in here in New Jersey, and came in, giant tractor trailer. And I had a hell of a time, bringing it in here, because these things are heavy. Some animatronics are not built as well as others. But if you look here, this is a base. You see the thick metal here? Look at my pinky. Okay, that's more than 1/4 inch. That might be 1/2 inch steel, certainly 3/8. The frame of these units are so heavy to hold their movement that it's really, really incredible. I really like this one because it reminded me of Country Bears being a bear. Now, he goes back and forth, and he's got his hand movements, and he plays the banjo and all that things, and he's a pretty good character. But behind him, there's another bear. You see that? So I kept the bears together, making them behind one of the curtains. You see I have the curtain tracks on the ceilings so that the curtains will automatically open and close. The curtains are from the show. The tracks are from the show. This giant walrus here, very, very heavy. He's playing a saxophone. And the top of the saxophone is not on right now. I must have knocked into it. It's probably laying on the floor back there. There's a mixture that goes along with it. And the giant lion here, he's playing the drums. I put myself up there playing my drum set in the background so I could play along with the show. Very interesting piece. The giant alligator. You know, these are actually very, very good animatronics. They made animatronics by different companies. Some companies were really like not even third rate. They were like 12th rate. They were so bad. They were just like, they moved their heads back and forth from side to side, you know, like, I mean, they were awful. I saw one of those in Tivoli Pier in Atlantic City, and they tried to do like a Red Lip Saloon and all that stuff. And they had the animated show, and they had one that was going to be Joan Rivers, you know. I mean, they were awful. They were so bad that I didn't even want to watch the show. But this show is actually pretty good. It's almost Disney quality as far as back in the period anyway. Their newer, you know, shows have gotten more sophisticated. This is a organ that the crocodile is playing, and the lights light up in the front here according with the keys as he's synchronizing with the music. The next stage over here, you have your guitar playing Wolf. I mean, very, very musical show, Major Magic. This is Major Magic. That was their icon. He is the major, like the drum major, the band major. He is Major Magic. You can see the pedestal. Now, there is a covering that goes around that pedestal. It's got to be around there somewhere, but it's not on. But you see the thickness of that steel. It's not a Spirit Halloween with the bent coat hangers, you know, type of thing. This is heavy welded, very, very extremely strongly built, you know, animatronics. Behind him, you have your trombone player. And to the right of him reminded me very, very much of Spectral Magic. You have your bass fiddle with the eyes and the hand that goes up and down as he plays his fiddle, and the other hand strums the strings, and the bass drum who's hitting himself, you know, on the bass drum, moving his nose and his lips and the eyes and the eyebrows to the song. And behind that, there's an organ, and the organ has a face above the keys, and you know, the lights come up, and the spires on the top, the pipes. I put the Randy heads in the pipes because I felt that would be such a great addition to making it, you know, along with the Randy animatronics here. And of course, you know, there's 3 stage curtains. There's the main stage and then the 2 side curtains. I have yet to run this show. Why? Well, in order to run this show, I have a lot of hose piping to do, a lot. All these controls. I mean, you can see a little bit behind Jungle Cruise Randy there. You see the orange and blue? Those are all hoses that are just running Major Magic himself. And those hoses go to banks of relays that are controlling air. Their air valves are being controlled pneumatically. Each unit has banks and banks of these valves. And I was mounting the banks underneath the stage so that I didn't have to go very far with the hosing. You see behind the pinball head, that blue thing sticking up there? You see that? That's a piston. That's on a giant compressor. And that compressor goes all the way from behind Mr. Bubble all the way over to behind Highlight Randy. And that had to be brought in here on a giant forklift in order to get it in. Now, obviously, it can't stay there because it would be loud as anything. And I never had a place to put it. So that could actually go even on your roof if you had a crane, and you could pipe it down with the compressed air to keep the silence of the unit out of here. So all this stuff would come when you're going to finally run the show. But I never got around to that point. We're going to come around here so you can get a glimpse from the back. You can see pretty well in the back of the bass drum guy there and the fiddle guy. You see how well built they are. And all those hoses are carrying pneumatics and very heavy pistons. These units are extremely well built. I added some extra speakers you see there on the right, and they were from Disneyland in 1965. This is your Major Magic's All-Star Pizza Revue show control system. And this controls the entire show. And it's on reel-to-reel tape. And all the information is programmed in. In behind these units here are your different options for your switches. A lot of options, a lot of options. Here's more tapes. These are more shows. It's got a bad 16 error, whatever that is, but it says great IT version, whatever that is. Never played it. Never played it. Look at this, I got my Disney World musket. Look at that. They sold these in Disney World in Frontierland. I had one when I was a kid. This is mine. Cock it back, and you'd shoot. It actually came with little cork, balls. You could pull this rod out. See, I can pull it. This would come all the way out, and that's how you would pack in your shell. Of course, it's not going to really fire a projectile, but they sold these all the time. They don't sell guns anymore unless you want to buy a lightsaber. So Major Magic was actually a pretty good chain. It wasn't a countrywide chain. It was up in that area. I never got to be in a Major Magic, but I have their show. And there are people out there who are very, very collectible to things like Major Magic things. And they're, every once in a while I get an email from them, what do you have for Major Magic? Well, you know what? They might actually have memories of it that I don't, which is, I'm great that they got those memories, but I'm going to make the show part of my memories here when I get the thing going and everything open here. And then, it's not far from running. It's just a matter of doing the final hookups to everything. And that compressor is the biggest issue because this uses a tremendous amount of pressed air. So it has to be someplace where it can't be heard because not only is that loud, it has to be cooled with water. And it's a messy thing. It's just one of those things. You got to constantly fill it with oil and, put it on the roof or something like that. I mean, I don't want to deal with that inside here. It'd just be too noisy. So it's Major Magic, an animated show. I think it's a far superior show, certainly in manufacturing techniques and constructions, than a Showbiz Pizza show or a Chucky Cheese show. I've seen those animatronics. They're not built anywhere near as well as these animatronics. These are steel, whereas the other ones, a lot of aluminum construction, a lot of plastic construction, and they work fine, but these are indestructible and they'll last forever and ever and ever. So Major Magic was the way to go. I don't know if there's any other surviving Major Magic shows out there. There were only a few of these places around. What happened to the other shows? I don't know. Considering the amount of cost it was to move it, they might have been destroyed, as a lot of things happen, unfortunately, in commercial industries, including the amusement industry. So with that, we're going to say goodbye to Major Magic, and we will see you next time on the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. Sorry about my frog and my voice. Frog. See you later.